Before you get started with the lesson, let me give you a quick overview of how to use this series of videos. This is a series that covers Microsoft Office 2013 using documents, spreadsheets, and presentation. I'm a teacher. I work in Tolleson, Arizona at a high school called Westview High School. These assignments are selected to be exactly like what you would do in the real world. So using Office is what you'll use in a real office or in a real business. There is an assignment book that accompanies every video. Each page in the assignment book has a checklist of the things that you should accomplish in each lesson. Watch the video lesson to see how things are done. After you create your own document using the video as a model, you may have some modifications, such as your own business names or your own paragraphs or your own data, but it'll look very similar. Now you can either watch the whole video through at one time or pause it as you go through it. Finally, print the document and your classroom teacher will grade it. So now, let's move on to your next assignment. Welcome to Excel assignment number 5. This is a decision chart that we're going to create using Microsoft Excel. Let's assume that you're going to choose a career based on several factors. We're going to consider several jobs here on the column A and several factors that would lead you to decide to go into that field, such as your pay in that job, the job market, which would mean the likelihood that you'll be hired, the enjoyment factor, how well do you like this job, your talents, how well are you at doing the job, and then finally another factor might be schooling, how much time is invested to get to this career. And so we'll create a chart that will lead you to a decision that probably is one of the most important in your life, is which career are you going to work at. So let's start from scratch. I'm going to choose a new workbook, a blank one, and let's start by giving it a title. Let's call it Career Decisions. Now down here we're going to call this the job column, and you invent some jobs that you think you might do. So I've placed a few jobs here in column A, from McDonald's manager to an NFL player. Now that's a large variety of types of things that you could possibly choose. You might have different ones. Now let's put in the factors that would lead you to decide on one of these. Obviously pay is an important factor. I've placed other factors into the chart as well. Not only pay, but job market, the enjoyment, your talents, and your schooling that's required. So now, under the column pay, let's assume that a 5 or some number large is the best that you can do in the career, and a 1 is the worst. So a McDonald's manager, let's put him down near the bottom. A doctor's probably doing pretty well. Let's give him a 4. NFL, let's assume is the best. It's a 5. Engineer's probably pretty good, is a 3, and a truck driver might be a 3 as well. And then for the others, job market, likely you probably can get a job there. A doctor, once you get your school, you're probably guaranteed a job. NFL, probably the worst of the factors because hardly anyone gets to that level. Engineers, they've got very good job prospects, and truck drivers apparently are doing well as well. How well would you enjoy doing the job? Maybe McDonald's, not so much. Doctor, if that's your passion. So make up some numbers based on your own preferences. And so I've filled in each of these categories based on what I think about each of the factors. Now it would be simple just to sum up the lines here, so I'm just going to put SUM and then add up all of these together. And then we'll fill down to see what kind of results we get. So this is telling me that number 19 is the highest. I should choose engineering to be my job. However, there's more to the decision than just adding up all of these factors. This assumes that every factor is equal, such as the amount of pay you get is just as likely to influence you as the job market. Well, in fact, job market might be more important. It's nice to have a high-paying job, but if you can't get it, then maybe job factor is a more important decision than you thought it was. Let's add some new columns. In between each of these categories, we're going to insert a new column. So I'm clicking on the title, the letters at the top, the column headers, and right-clicking there and choosing Insert. What I want to do next is add what I would call an importance factor for each of these categories. For instance, job market. I would put that as the highest of the factors. If I can't find a job, then there's no sense in going into it. Employment or enjoyment. I should probably enjoy it. I'm going to give it as a 4. My talents, I think I can learn whatever it is, so I'm going to say that's not as important. Schooling, it's not important. I'm willing to do as much school as I have to. And then pay, I'm going to count that as a medium factor. Now, for each of these, let's take a formula to multiply the relative importance, so equals the relative importance of this times the factor for each career. Now, this is going to require a absolute reference. So, where it says $C4, I'm going to put a $sign in front of the 4 because I'm going to reference this number in the blue every single time after I fill down. So filling down here shows now the importance of the NFL. 15 is somewhat moderated now. It's got less of importance than maybe the job market would have. So let's copy this section here. Let's paste it into the next area. And paste it into the next area. And continue on. Now let's readjust this. When I do the final tally, I just want to say equals, and I'm going to add up each of these factors. So I'm putting a plus sign between each cell. And then I will fill down in the last row. Let's give it a title and call it total. So once more, 65 shows up as the most important of the jobs, at least according to my criteria, a 65. One more final touch might be to color code each of these areas so that they stand out distinctly one from another. Now looking at the totals, let's do a conditional formatting on these numbers. So highlighting the numbers, I'm going to choose the top 10%. That'll show basically the first highest ranked item. And so 65 is the highest number in the list. That shows which one comes out on top. Engineering, by the way, is what the computer decision chart recommends for me. Let's see what you have. Print your work, put your name on it, and you have a decision now of what your career will be.